The letter from the Albanese government includes a couple of examples of what they claim are your controversial views. You talk about the number of people radicalised in one comment on X. In another, you say differentiating between Gazans and Hamas is dishonest. Do you think these views are so controversial that they should prevent you from visiting Australia for 3 years?
And as far as Gazans, we had thousands of Gazans coming to Israel on October 7th. Most of Gaza elected Hamas, and many of them, as you saw, paraded the hostages around when they were being released. So we're talking about a society that's deeply, deeply indoctrinated. Not to say, by the way, this is important, that there are no innocent people in Gaza. Of course there are. But that is a completely irrelevant point because, again, there's never been a war in which innocent people were not killed. And it's sad, but that's the reality of war. Israel did not want this war. Israel did not start any war, ever. But Israel also never lost any war, and that will be the case in this war as well.
And Hillel, whether people agree with your views is actually beside the point. This is a free speech issue, and surely not everyone who comes into the country has to agree with the Home Affairs Minister, Tony Burke.
Right. Where do you draw the line? I mean, anybody who has pro-Israel opinions won't be allowed into Australia. It's obviously a dangerous, slippery slope. It's not something that I think a government should, partake in at all. But I got to be honest, our enemies, the pro-Hamas crowd, did something kind of brilliant. They aligned their agenda and their narrative with free speech, which is something they do quite often. There's nothing, free speech about inciting actual violence, like globalize the Intifada, which literally means a violent uprising on the global stage against Jews. And yet that's, not frowned upon. But when Hillel Fuld says that there was no massacre in Gaza, which again is a fact, all of a sudden that's hate speech, that's Islamophobia. It's absurd.
The decision from Tony Burke also says you have the potential to use your speaking circuit to make inflammatory statements which can incite discord. So there's concern here about the way the pro-Palestinian activists might respond to what you're saying. I mean, that's victim blaming, isn't it? It's stopping the Jew coming to the country in case the pro-Palestinian crowd grow violent.
That's right. It's absolutely absurd. But furthermore, the topic of my talk wasn't even politics or anything to do with Gaza or anything like that. I was there to talk about how Israel and Israeli innovation is changing the world and making the world a better place. What's inflammatory about that?
Well, the United States government has had to try and step in and implore the Australian government to reconsider its decision on your visa. Have you heard whether there's been a response to America's letter?
I'm not going to lie, it's kind of funny that I've become a diplomatic crisis. But yeah, Ambassador Huckabee is a friend, both of mine and my family's, and of the Jewish people in the state of Israel. So he was the first person that I emailed to let him know what was going on. He wrote back a beautiful letter, which was sent to the government in Australia, of course, and I had not heard back. Not only did I not hear back as a result of his letter, but I appealed, went about it the normal way. And in addition to Ambassador Huckabee, we have Israel's foreign minister, we have Israel's former ambassador to the UN, and many, many other diplomatic channels that are trying to solve this problem. I have not heard back a peep, not a word from the Australian government.
And I should mention, while this has become a major diplomatic incident now, you didn't even want publicity about this. You told me about this decision on what would have been Friday lunchtime, your time, Friday night, my time, but you didn't want me to report it. You wanted it resolved behind the scenes. You weren't looking for this to become a big issue.
That's right. I have no reason to, throw anyone under the bus as long as it's solved. Now it's Monday and I'm supposed to be flying tomorrow, so clearly this will not be solved, especially since there's a holiday in Australia. So it's fair to assume that this is not going to be solved, and so now is the time to let the world know that this is pure anti-Semitism. And if you need evidence to that effect, I'll just mention that, again, not something that many people have reported, but I did receive through a channel, not directly, from an official in Australia who said to me, if we can reverse this, and I can't promise that we can, but if we can reverse this, I need you to commit to not discussing your dead brother. Literally, that's what they told me. You could come, but you can't mention your brother who was murdered by an Arab kid. And I was like, are you kidding me right now?
That's insane. Can you tell us who said that?
I received it indirectly, so I don't actually know the name of the person. I received it from the people who were flying me in, who asked me. I was told that if you can commit to that, we might be able to reverse the decision. I didn't speak directly to the person, so I don't have a name for you, but it came from the highest levels in Australia.
Absolutely absurd. That is so offensive to ask you not to speak about your brother who was killed. What sort of reputation is Australia getting in Israel and the United States when it comes to this issue?
So I think Australia is jumping on the bandwagon of all the Jew hatred across the world, right? We see parliaments, whether it's in Canada or in the UK or many other countries, South Africa, of course. This is what happens throughout our history. The Jew is scapegoated, and everyone jumps in and joins the party. So this is not something that surprises anyone, but as a general statement, it's shocking to me that I've seen this level of anti-Semitism in my lifetime. Again, this is not something new. We see it in every generation, but I, in a million years, never thought that I would see this in my lifetime. And I'll tell you even furthermore, on October 7th, as an optimistic guy, I said to myself, if there's any silver lining here, it's that the world will definitely stand alongside Israel. I mean, Hamas live streamed it. There's no scenario, I said to myself, in which the world doesn't stand with us. And that support for Israel lasted about 24 hours, probably less. It's absurd. It's absurd because not only is Israel an incredible country that has done nothing but good in the world, but the Jewish people as a nation have done so much good. And these anti-Semites in general often use Israeli technology to spread hatred against Israel, whether it's Wix websites that they're building, BDS websites onto, which is a website builder, obviously an Israeli company, and many, many other examples. When you take a picture with your phone, dual lens technology on phones was developed by an Israeli, and Waze and drip irrigation. The list obviously goes on. So if they're going to hate on us, then stop using our product.
Look, Hillel, I'm so sorry this has happened to you. We're all sitting back in horror over this. We're ashamed of our own government. Thank you so much for speaking out and for your time tonight.
Thank you.